Hello, Attactioneers. Welcome to the Attack Action Podcast, America's podcast, #1 Flesh and Blood podcast in the year of our Lord James White, 2024.
Jimmy Blanco.
The Attack Action Podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Morrow.
And I'm your host, Colin Honigman. What's up, Taylor? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
Thank you.
Love the color of t-shirt you are wearing tonight.
It's orange for those listening.
Yeah. I'm doing
pumpkin.
good. Well, it's kind of like, anyway, visual stuff is not great for an audio format, so you
It
just
could
look
be
very
visual.
handsome.
We'll see
That's
how
what
it
I'm trying to
goes. We might be visual. I don't know.
That's true.
New year,
leaf.
new video podcast.
Yeah, basically, you're just watching two dudes who are very similar, but not the same dude, but at the same time, the same dude talking about the same game. So that should be fun for everybody visually. Here we are, the Attack Action Podcast 2024. First episode in what is now our 4th year of existence as a podcast. So congratulations to us. It's going to be an awesome year. I can't wait. And
So just say it now, it'll be the greatest year for us and Flesh and Blood.
boom. Great prediction.
Thank
Hot
you.
take. Hot take. So today on this fine episode, we're going to be talking about just heavy hitters. Some of the preliminary spoilers from spoiler season, our thoughts on that, drama surrounding it, our thoughts on that drama if we have any. We might bring some new drama to the scene, or we'll bring your mama or llama. Could all happen, or none of it. You have to pay
Stay tuned to
attention.
find out. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So, but before we get to that, we have some news. Heavy Hitters is imminent. We are like 4 weeks away, something like that. So that's awesome. Living Legends format is has a banned and restricted list now, mainly a restricted list of cards, and people had feelings about that. Colin, your thoughts?
It makes sense. I've seen the one tournament that we had here for AGE. Shout out to Justin, AGE crew. It was a lot of Starvo. It was a lot of what's her face, Icelander, and
What's her
you know,
face? The queen up there.
Oakenold is still not a Oldhim specialization. Oh wait, was
Correct.
Oakenold a specialization? No, it wasn't. It was the other
Oakenold
one
is not.
with
in
the
this
really
winter.
cool art too. So and then Warmongers is restricted, which is funny because they're like, oh, it just kills Chain, and everyone wanted to play Chain, but they couldn't because everyone can play Warmongers and kill him on the spot with drawing the card at the right time. Pretty good for everyone else, pretty bad for Chain. Seems interesting. Restricted is an interesting thing that we haven't seen yet. Just having the one copy of the card in your deck. So that'll be something. Living Legend isn't something I'm super interested in. I think it's good for the game to allow people to just keep playing heroes they like. So I do think they have to make sure it's fun to play, if not balanced. They said balance isn't the thing. They want it to be busted, but it can't be one-sided. One deck wins everything.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
here we go.
Yeah,
What
I'm
are your
interested to
thoughts?
see. Well, I'm just interested to see how those changes affect the meta, if at all, if it makes it better. Allowing only one copy of Awakening means that, that BS play is a little less consistent. So
But still, totally gonna happen.
we'll just wait and see what's going on. I haven't really dipped into that format myself, but I feel like I kind of want to. So I don't know. We'll see. Definitely going to try to play it at the Hype House. More on that later.
Would you play Chain?
Yeah, I think so. Either that or Skeleton Visceri. Like those were two of my favorite decks of all time. So we'll see. There's a lot more tools for that.
Of the Skeleton Visceri mirror match I did on the stream, which was just, and he makes more rune chance, and then he's gonna make more rune chance, and who's gonna win first?
Yeah,
it was not exciting.
Exciting for
but
some.
Interesting, for in a academic, intellectual kind of way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, the big issue people had with that was, why aren't we just banning things? Why are we restricting things? Why don't we do the same thing in Classic Constructed? Blah blah blah. And there were some social media explanations and some in the article, that sort of thing. Basically, you just got to think of them as two different formats that have two different solutions, and this is the solution that they've chosen for Living Legend, to restrict cards rather than ban stuff. And we'll see how it goes, is basically the state we're at.
For a not primary format, that seems fine. Are you okay?
Yeah, totally. I'm just trying to turn my heater off with my foot.
I thought your leg cramped up or something.
It kind of did.
There's still time.
Incredible.
There's still time. It might still happen. So we'll see. We'll keep monitoring that. I'd like to play it at some point, break out old Prism, even though I think I just tore that whole deck apart, so maybe not.
You did? For what reason? Also, why was it still together? That's crazy.
Because I found it in a box.
That's funny.
When you just have deck boxes and you don't know what's in them, and then you find it and you're like, what's in here? And you're like, oh shit, it's my Prism deck from several years ago. So I took it apart to make
Solid.
new Prism.
Hell yeah. Living Lurker format. Awesome. Well,
yeah.
Cool. Anything else before this next bomb we have on the podcast?
No.
Okay. So, in perhaps terrible news to start off the year at the beginning of the podcast, Isaac will be taking a step back from being on the pod. He has a segment here that he's going to most likely cry in, as we all do, listening to it, about him needing time away from the podcast just due to how his life is and how much it's meant to him and that sort of thing. So, we'll let him explain it in his own words.
Hello, Attactioneers. Isaac here. I'm taking a moment to announce that I will be taking a step back from the production of the Attack Action podcast. It has been a number of months now that I have been unable to invest the necessary time to create a good product, and one that I'm truly proud of. This is unfair to our awesome team and to all the listeners as well. As we've made this podcast over the year, our individual inputs have been fairly cyclic in terms of who could invest the necessary amount of time to create quality content. However, as my career has changed and been steadily ramping up, the opportunity cost for me to remain a primary driving force in our production is just too great. Due to competing hobbies and personal goals, as well as a busier work schedule, I am no longer able to invest enough time into the game to stay competitive and knowledgeable, especially when the meta is ever changing. The bottom line is that I'm unwilling to burn all my PTO and extra funds in order to keep up to date on everything in the world of Fab, especially at the expense of other goals in my life. It's just become too much to manage. This means that I will not be able to produce content that I'm satisfied with. I generally put a lot of hours into many of our deeper strategic episodes, and I don't want to just show up every month and ramble off the cuff about things I'm not really educated on. A big part of our mission statement is to always produce quality content that we are proud of, and that's what I've always wanted to do. While my excitement about the game has admittedly dwindled a bit in the past year, this by no means is to say that I will stop playing or stop making content entirely. I would be happy to provide what input I can, but agreeing to a level of commitment and then regularly falling short is not fair to Taylor and Colin or any of you. Fab is a truly magical and great game. It has a vibrant world filled with great characters, all realized in one of the best TCG game systems that has ever been created. I've not been on board with every direction that LSS has chosen to take the game as of late, but that by no means has diminished my respect for the game devs and the innovation they continue to show. This all comes at a time when I have been craving more kitchen table and less competitive games in my life. I have a great love for the former and have become a little burnt out on traveling and playing semi-competitively almost exclusively. I will always love and play Fab every chance I get. I've just reached a point where the cost of being involved enough to make good content is too great. I hope to relax back into a level of play that I truly enjoy and have the time and energy to pursue other goals in my life as well. Thank you all so much for every experience, in person and otherwise, that you have given me over the past 3 years. A huge thank you to Taylor and Colin. This has truly been a life-changing and deeply rewarding experience. Until next time.
Thank you, Isaac. I'm not crying, you're crying. Okay? So don't try to blame that on me.
I was shocked when Isaac told us, but I understand. You gotta do what's best for you. And we're here. He'll still be around. He's in our Discord. So now if we want to hang out with Isaac, you really should join our Discord to see him there. But he'll be around. He'll be at the Hype House, new friend for life. I don't need to worry about that, but I'll miss having, forced interactions with him, bi-monthly basis.
Yeah, totally.
I think that's the benefit of doing a podcast with your friends. You're like, cool, we're just going to hang out more often than I would with other people.
I think he just was tired of his perfect vision, and because he doesn't need glasses, so he has perfect vision, and just how quivering his upper lip is compared to our masculine upper lips. And I think that was just hard for him.
Remember when he grew a mustache though? That was glorious.
That was cool.
That was the live podcast from 2022 December.
Yeah.
Isaac shows
Go
up
check
with
that out.
Biggest handlebar mustache. Well,
if we
love
were
you, Isaac.
really more, well, go ahead. Well, okay. What I was going to say, if we were really prepared for this, we would have had a reel cut together of all his best moments in the podcast, and we would just string them together over some sappy music. Sadly, we are not that prepared.
Is that news agencies who are prepared for famous people who might die at any given moment, and they're just
yeah, totally. There's a team of people. There's probably some secret, no, I guess not secret, but just a database where they have that ready to go, and somebody updates it every once in a while.
Yeah, that'd be a weird job. Anyways, I was just say, Isaac, we love you, and we'll see you around. We'll make sure everyone knows how you're doing. So when you give us updates, we'll give them updates as he's out there saving actual lives and land from fires,
kittens from trees.
Yeah, I was also going to say he was just tired of carrying us with all his winning of events and doing well with his
totally
his various decks. So now it's up to me, I guess. No,
Hell
it's
yeah.
not going to be me.
Congratulations, you're the new Isaac.
I'm the new Isaac. I am not prepared for this. 2024 is now going to be rough. My prediction has already failed. Damn it. Yeah. So, reach out to Isaac on Twitter or in Discord. You know, tell him that you love him, but that you understand.
There you go. Rest in power.
I mean, just like generally, not like forever.
Yeah, I would love it if everybody was more powerful, and resting.
If I could get some rest.
We'll move on into shout outs. So my one shout out is the Pitch It To Me podcast. I have recently become a fan of theirs, and I have been loving their whole deal. It's unique, and they're fun. And they had our boy Anthony Pham on for an episode recently, and that was like a really great episode. And they also tried to define tempo, and that reminded me of the episode me and Isaac did all about tempo, which I think maybe still holds up, but go give that a listen and see if you agree or disagree.
Isaac says the word tempe a lot, I think.
Yeah, which I counseled him not to. And, he's a man without a mustache, so he just does whatever he wants.
That is true. That's our mustaches are actually binding us from doing everything we want to do.
Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship between me and this being.
It's like Venom. It's
Yeah.
and our upper lips. I have a couple shout outs. I just want quick shout out to everyone's favorite deck building site, Fabrary. When you just want to see all the new spoilers, they're there, man. All y'all who help out there, we appreciate you. It's a beautiful site. So many awesome features for free. I should probably give them money. And maybe this is the year to do it. We'll see. Finances are weird sometimes. Last shout out. I want to shout out to the one and only Greg, who's been carrying the torch for our Story of Wraith audio experience episodes, producing those with us. Also, helping behind the scenes a little bit, giving us access to some cool new tech to record. So hopefully recording sounds gooder than it did sometimes. And we appreciate you. The Jacry of Sound. What a baller. What a good name on Twitter. Anyways, that's all I got.
Excellent. Well, okay. I'm going to put this in here, I guess.
Do it. Yeah.
Speaking of us and the support we need, support us. Please do that. Best way you can do that is join our Patreon. You get to join the elite group of super fans and talk with them in the Discord. We're talking heavy hitters. See what I did there? Such as Thor Mike, Jesse, a.k.a. Riptide Genius, a.k.a. that Talishar Lexi guy, a.k.a. the Orc Knight. He's got a lot of AKAs in there. Greg's in there. So if you want to hang out with Darth Prentice himself, you can hang out with him. Manuel is still there, but he's just behind the scenes.
Hanging out.
Lurking. But he's still there. We love that guy. Yeah. So you get to hang out with that elite group of people and
more.
Chum it up.
That's right.
It's excellent. If you can't do that, which is only $4 a month, then liking and subscribing and leaving comments, rating and reviewing, that's another great way. Super easy.
Go iTunes and all you Spotify people, you just do it right there. You little like 5 stars, just boop. Maybe can you leave a review? I think you can. I don't know. Why not? If you can, do it.
I think you could star it. We have a poll every episode you could answer that says, how did you like this episode? I haven't figured out how to change it or how I would change it other than that. So feel free to engage with it that way. You could leave your comments about how to engage with that in the poll for that.
Nice.
So that'll be a fun one to parse through there for me. And then if you don't feel like doing that stuff, the least you could do is tell a friend. That would be excellent. Grow them numbers. This year was a good year for us, as every year has been. So let's just keep the media empire takeover continuing. Our numbers have dwindled now that Isaac is gone, so we need to double our ranks. So let's get him in there.
And then the last thing is, if we double our listenership, he'll come back maybe. So.
Oh.
Did he say that? I don't know if he said that.
I think he probably said that in his promo. He said a lot of stuff. He said how I'm basically like a second father to him, and you're also a father, uncle figure, and that
he
also thought of us
uncle,
he thought of us as kind of a married couple, me and you, and that he was our son kind of thing. I'm pretty sure it was like not explicit, but the subtext was there.
Yeah, it's all about the subtext.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if you want to bring back Isaac, everyone better come out, sign up,
shine up, give us your money.
No guarantees though.
No guarantees. Last thing, if you do get in on the Patreon ASAP, you will get invited to the Hype House, which will be happening.
Closing though.
Yeah, doors are closing. We're in January. Okay.
We're booking this soon.
We're booking this baby. And let me tell you what, when you book an Airbnb that's large, there are only so many beds. Okay. And the first thing that happens when everybody gets there is we sprint to a room and claim a bed. You take your pants off and rub your naked bottom everywhere so nobody wants to be in there with you. Okay.
It's the most hygienic thing to do as well.
Yeah.
Or we get a place with bunk beds.
Yeah, even better. Then you just get on the top bunk and you say, I'm a bedwetter. 2 for the price of 1. So the Hype House, what is that, Colin? Tell us what that is.
Picture this. You're going to a tournament. You got all your friends. You all get a sweet Airbnb in a nearby neighborhood that, got a nice little kitchen. It's got, some real generic decor, live, laugh, love, a nice big table to play, card games on. And you're just drinking, having a great time. And then you're like, oh, fuck, we got to go play in the tournament. But the Hype House is like that, but you don't have to go anywhere. You just stay there. We're going to be there. We're going to be playing games. We're going to be grilling things. We're going to be hanging out, sharing our feelings. We got a bunch of board games. We're going to play Living Lurkers format, maybe even Living Legends format. We're going to draft, drink too much, eat too much, and form great memories together. Because
hamster cuddle pile every night.
Just a big puddle of cuddle, you know what I'm saying? Just
massage circles.
I'm going to have to stretch, do some hand stretches, make sure. Strengthening exercises.
Nope, those 2 things are optional, but
No, I meant me, not you. Not everybody. Just me.
Oh, gotcha.
It's fun. Yeah.
I just meant cuddling and massage circles are optional. I don't want to have anybody feel pressured.
Strongly encouraged, but extremely optional.
Consent. Exactly. So is our donation jar by the door.
No, there won't be one of those.
No, there definitely
will
won't be.
Hopefully an epic Costco run. Lots of food. Good times.
Hell yeah.
So yeah. But we do have to book that soon. So, if you've been on the edge and you're just like, I just want to do it. I want to go hang out, make new friends, or be with friends you already know and you just aren't in our, Discord already. Just do it. Let me know.
Just get in there. It's going to be
You only
great.
got like a week or two. Not a lot of time. So this is your last chance. I'm going to say that.
Awesome.
Let's do it. Mosey on to the main topic.
Here we are, the main topic. Welcome, everybody. You've made it. We didn't talk about our lives that we normally do, but I think that's fine. You know, with the
economy as it is right now, it's kind of
the economy as it is, and Isaac's sadness. I don't think people want to hear about anything. So let's just get into some flesh and blood. That's why we're all here. So heavy hitters.
Ooh.
Number of things have happened. Quite a few spoilers have come out. We have 5 out of the 6 heroes that are going to be in the set. A smattering of cards have been confirmed. No weapons, very little equipment. Colin, you are a brute guy. How are you feeling right now? Oh, you're beating your chest. Incredible.
Beat chest, beat feet, beat chest, beat whatever. Oh, we do have a weapon though. It's Centauri Saber, so it's not exciting. There's also Luminaris and Gravencall, but they're not for this set of
Non-draftable.
brutes
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
warriors and guardians. I'm a brute, old brute guy. I don't play a lot of
Yeah.
brute anymore, but that's gonna change very soon. I have a feeling, because number one reason is beat chest. Wow, what a great new mechanic. Great bolded words on these cards where it says beat chest. As an additional cost to play this, you may discard a card with 6 or more power. Boom. Thank you. I just want to choose the card that I discard.
Yeah.
We figured out how to do it, and then they made everything about being off the top and rolling dice, and brute became kind of weird. And now we have a really great way of kind of bringing that consistency. And I'm really excited about this. Things that I'm weird about, and we'll talk more about later, is that they just brought Reinar back. His new art's cool. I don't really get why he just wandered into this gladiator den, but he's there now. And who's he there with? KO, armed and dangerous, because he has one arm. Thematically great. Cool power. He has a cool power. Attack action cards you own get +1 while they're in any zone other than the combat chain. So, 6 power thing. 5 power things become 6 power all over the place, except in the combat chain. But he has 1 weapon zone because he has 1 arm. So it's strange, but it's kind of cool. So yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings as usual, but I do think this new mechanic of beat chest is really cool. There's a couple of new Reinar specialization, or at least one new Reinar specialization that looks really cool. And I'm hoping these Guardian brute combo, hybrid cards are pretty cool. So we'll see.
Nice.
I don't know. I have hope. I'm not someone who can look at cards and be like, oh yes, and I'm going to pair this up with this card, and this is the thing that's going to happen, and I already know all the optimal solutions to everything. It's like, no, they look cool. The art looks fun. It's going to take me 3 months of playing the deck to understand the implications of these things. But I do think picking a 6 out of your hand rather than hoping that you hit it randomly, pretty good.
Yeah, it allows you to have a beat chest deck potentially and not have to do a random discard the whole time. So you don't only have to have 6 power attacks for that sort of thing. Maybe less powerful with Reinar since he has his original text. If you were to go the beat chest route only, if there's going to be enough cards to support that. But anyway, Yeah, I think it's, gosh, I don't know. I'm not a brute guy. It was like the class besides ninja that I was least, well, it's hard to say. I think Rhinar or brute, ninja, and mechanologist were like the three classes when we first started playing that I was like, I have absolutely no interest in any of these decks, you know. But I really loved playing Rhinar in whatever that format was. Welcome to Wraith draft.
Yeah.
I thought that was so fun. So hopefully I'll get some of those similar vibes drafting in this set. KO seems really interesting. I think that's a really cool hero design, a new way to design a same hero with, I think it's a 10 out of 10 in terms of like really cool power. That's really interesting. And then the card has told a story. We get to see him again, much like they did with Kasai. You know, she also has had something happen in her life. So, you know, she's quite a bit different, and so is KO. So I think
she's got
really
gold
cool.
now. She got rich.
Yeah, she went from copper to gold.
Oh, that's a glow up right there. You know, KO lost an arm. Kasai has gold and a bunch of friends she can hire.
Yeah, totally. KO he's got this rad hairdo though. That looks better than ever. He's definitely more swole.
He looks dope. The art looks amazing. I agree. The storytelling of like where he is in his life here is really interesting. I'm excited to see them just continue to create heroes that just kind of have these different variable things. Like he has one hand, like the implications, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's got more options than just claw, but you know, it's interesting. It's cool that they're thinking about how to do that. I'm curious if it was like a balance thing or if it was just a flavor thing or a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's really interesting design, and I'm excited to see that. And I'm glad it's not just, you know, big hitting KO like previously, who just, you know, either killed you or died every game.
So since we're on brutes too, before we get to like Betsy and that sort of thing, because we haven't really talked about that, you want to talk about the Rhinar drama that happened before the end of last year?
I sure do, but I need you to tell me what happened.
Oh, gotcha. Well, it seemed that like we got the Rhinar reveal, and I was among the people who definitely typed in the chat WTF. You know, we got this rad new art, Rhinar Reckless Rampage with the exact same hero text. And you know, people had negative feelings about that we were just getting a reprint of Rhinar. Now at a Majestic level, he's exactly the same. He has new art and nothing has changed. And people, I think, felt betrayed seems like a too strong of a word, but maybe tricked, because we saw Kasai right away as the reprint, but has a brand new art and hero ability. Then we saw some new heroes. Then we saw KO, brand new art, new hero ability. And then here comes the next brute. Everybody's so excited, hyped up for a new brute because we've got our reprint with our new hero ability. So what's this new brute going to be like? And then it's just Rhinar with the same hero text. And I think people felt like the timing of that, including myself, was, you know, led to some sort of a weird feeling. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that was way less exciting than I had anticipated it to be, you know? And then there was some back and forth about, well, people weren't upset about this on Outsiders when we reprinted 4 heroes. Nope, 3 heroes, excuse me. And, that sort of thing. And I, blah, blah, blah. And then people chilled out and now it's fine. But what do you have any, just for me to not go on a long rant and I'm the only voice here. Do you have any thoughts about how that all went down or your feelings about it?
I thought you'd never ask. Thank you for breaking that down. I kept thinking there was something bigger that happened, but it is just more that people had a little bit of a kind of reaction, and then they got a little bit. I think betrayed's a funny word because I feel like that's how people act on Twitter and shit. And process your feelings. Maybe don't do it publicly on a website. But
and then tag the game designers.
And then definitely don't do it while you're tagging the game designers. Think about it for a little bit, because I think I felt similarly. It was just like, I was hoping to expand the brute class. Guardians has had so many heroes, and they got 2 new heroes. Oh no,
just one so far.
Olympia's warrior. So I guess it's probably just gonna be Bravo in a ring now. I don't know. I guess Valda seems likely. Anyways, so it's just like a little disappointment there. It's cooler to have more options. Yes, we have other new heroes to play with as well, but I think the follow-up thought to this was this set is now intended to really big up Rhinar. There's going to be stuff in here that is specifically meant to push him up a little bit more, hopefully. I think for the most part they have done well. No, that's not true. I was going to say they've done a good job at not making any new hero or new cards just totally gassing up a hero, but they've totally done that multiple times. So hopefully it's Reinhardt's turn and he's just going to be really strong and consistent, and that'll be fun for everybody that loves Reinhardt. Hopefully he doesn't get too gassed up so that he just boosts himself into the living legend status, but I don't know if that's likely. We'll see. If Brute is Brute is meta,
I mean,
if Reinhardt is meta and he's good, he's gonna be good. So I think they've always been afraid of that. So we'll see what they did. And I think looking at some of the cards and the beat chest stuff is gonna be a little bit more. It's gonna be all about looking back at Brute cards, being does this card say randomly discarded 6 card to trigger this effect, or does this card say if you've discarded a 6 power card this turn? So it's gonna be a lot of that, a lot of figuring it out and kind of learning to deal with Brute shit, because you still got scab skins and you still don't have a lot of on hits. So if you're just pushing damage, it has proven itself to be just not as effective and consistent. So if it can be a little bit more consistent, I think it's going to be a pretty sweet deck. I was thinking about this. I thought this was interesting just because beat chest, it's got the Unga Bunga vibes, Yeah. But I feel when people talk about Unga Bunga decks, they mean Cheerios Briar and things like that. That are just I just slam down cards and I just kill you really fast.
Yeah.
And it's funny that the flavor of that is all this is great and very Brute and Reinhardt-y, but it's in the mechanical meta, view of this, it's not really Unga Bunga, but I do hope, and I know that any of us who play Brute at Armory are going to beat our chest when we do it. So it'll be fun. Looking forward to that.
Hell yeah. Yeah. All good points, Colin. I think it's right now it feels weird, right? For all of those reasons. Like, why didn't we get, why, you know, if we're going to reprint KO and give him new art, then why do we need a reprint of Rhinar? You know what I mean? And then why are we going to do that with Kasai, you know? And maybe and I think if we do Rhinar as the first hero spoiled, I think it maybe sits better as we go through the heroes potentially, you know? But you know, those things are really hard to predict. But that's kind of how I feel about it, is like, you know, I don't mind if Rhinar's in this set, but why don't we have Rhinar like, you know, King of the Jungle or King of the Ring, you know, or something like that, where we can have him, but let's just have him be slightly different. You know what I mean? With a different hero power, like that would feel fun. And I think some of the people, you know, some people are saying like, well, we weren't upset in Outsiders, you know? And it was like, yeah, totally. We weren't upset. First time that had happened, like, cool. We'll see how this goes. Never played Benji in draft. That will be fun. Same reason I'm like, well, KO is a totally different mechanic, and so is Kasai, you know?
But I think that's also just a lie. Like, I'm pretty sure people were upset in Outsiders when they were just like, here's Katsu again. And all the ninja players are like, really? We don't get a new ninja to play? And Benji was young only? Like, you know, I think they fixed it by making, you know, new, young, and old heroes. And we don't just have like Blitz heroes only. And people have wanted Kasai for a long time. KO, I'm less sure if that's something people actually like wanted as a adult hero, especially in his original form, would have been stupid. But you know, I think it's interesting because it feels like with Brute, I get the feeling that they are struggling to realize his identity. It's like they had some thoughts on it, and it seemed like those thoughts changed, and they're kind of like in this weird spot where they make things like rock and you know, and all the dice rolling cards, and it's just, yeah, I think, you know, I love Rhinar King of the Ring. That would have been great, you know, but I'll take it. You know, like I said, Rhinar's getting some support. He's needed some actual good new cards that aren't just about rolling a dice or drawing off the top and discarding and hoping that it's good. So I'm excited to see what else comes out for him. Curious if there's going to be a new weapon or if they're going to go club and claw. I do love club. Shout out to Zane in Discord. Loves club. It's just fun. I remember I love doing club.
Yeah, it's a cool weapon. 2 for 5 is pretty fun. It feels good out of a weapon, you know?
You do a couple of those bellow attacks and like discard a card, and it's like 2 for like 11 or something stupid. Like, you know, you come in with a giant club attack. It was fun.
Hell yeah.
So
yeah, that's
we'll
really
see
rad.
how it goes. Yeah.
We will.
Right.
I mean, you know, I'm not you know, I could care less, really. Well, not really. I want people to be happy, I guess, you know?
You could care less.
And I'm excited to get to play Rhinar. It definitely has a bit of those portions in it. I mean, I did feel a little weird in Outsiders, like, why don't we get some like new art here for these heroes or something like that? And this is my last negative point, and then I'll talk about the positives. Is that we really got, like, Katsu just shows up in Outsiders with no lore backstory, you know? I think two things. I don't know if LSS understands how much we care about the lore of this game, you know? Like, we really do. Like, I want to read those stories, and I want to know what's happening, you know? And those are all, like, locked in my brain as things that are taking up space. You know, and like let's have more stories, because that's one of the coolest parts about being a part of this game, is that it has a story. And like, let's continue to tell that, please, and have some sort of reasonings for some stuff, and not leave everything on a cliffhanger. You know what I mean? This is the thing about storytelling. It's infinite. So if some things resolve in this story, that would be fine, or get closer to resolution. I would love that. So as long as we get like Reinar's in the freaking death arena because he's just like, I'm king of the Savage Lands, I'm going to go alpha rampage over here and be the king as well, because I'm just hungry for competition or something. That would be awesome. Or whatever the story is. You know what I mean? That would be great. Would have loved to seen a Lady Brute as well. Get some of those green women out there representing for all the single green moms at home. You know, they're important too. But positives, I love this new adult hero art. I believe the young hero art is from the reprint that they already did of him in Classic Battles. Yeah. I also like the new Reinar specialization, Show No Mercy, is really cool. When this attacks a hero, just intimidate them. Like, so fun. And if its defended hero has no cards in hand, it gets +9. Or, sorry, +3, so it becomes a 3 for 9, which is pretty rad. So if you can, like, you know, even with just a, what's the, it's not Primeval Bellow. What's the one that's a 0-cost non-attack action that just intimidates and gives plus if they don't? Barraging Beatdown. You know, pitch stack some Barraging Beatdowns with your Show No Mercy, because you don't need to discard a 6 as a extra cost. It just intimidates you for the 4th one, and then it comes in for a bajillion. So sick. That'd be so cool.
That's how we used to do it. That's how it used to be done. Pitch deck the Barraging Beatdowns. Alpha Rampage. Discard your whole hand.
Now you
take
that extra card
damage.
You don't need that extra card, which is pretty rad. Yeah. So I think that's really awesome and a ton of fun as well. So I like the direction Brute's going in. I think KO has like a really interesting hero power. And I hope that there is some design space for not having an arm, rather than there being a void of design space for that. You know what I mean? So
what if they give him like a prosthetic he can like attach and then equip like a second arm or a second weapon mid-game?
Or like, you know, bloody flesh bag after you've have so many 6s or dealt so much damage, then you can like take this out of your inventory, and now you've attached the like bones and flesh of your enemies that you've constructed an extra arm out of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just like random skull, attach it to your arm and beat it into somebody else's head.
Yeah, totally. And then he transforms into a shadow hero, and all of his arm cards go underneath him, and he's now an evil robot or something. You know, we're just doing whatever we want now. So let's just go over here and do it.
I was gonna say, the new hero art, dope. Wiz Nutan, original Reinar artist, has done all the Reinar hero art, so just continues to bring the raw intensity, and it's awesome. So very excited
Reinar
about.
Also looks marketably more diesel than he ever has, which I like that.
You know, he's not skipping arm, back, and shoulders day. That's for sure.
Totally. And this is a very sexy pose. You know what I mean?
The kind of like
he's like looking over his shoulder, like,
turn.
Yeah, like, I see you back there. Follow me this way.
Yeah. I'm going to
come
murder
here.
you over here now.
Yeah. You like this? These lats? You like this low back action?
You know, it gives me
Come here.
vibes of. It gives me vibes of like Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
Vibes where like Hulk ends up on another planet. That's what they ended up doing in that one Thor movie. Was it Love and Thunder? Where he goes
Ragnarok.
to a planet. Is it Ragnarok?
Yep.
Yeah. And then Hulk's there just like hulking out all the time. And
Yeah.
just that's Reiner. He's just out there. He's having a great time. Not quite what I thought he was going to do with his life, but you know, it's his choice. You know,
Totally. He's
you
a wild
love him,
animal.
You watch them grow up, and then you got to let them make their own choices, even if they're mistakes.
And
It's
if
best
you
for him.
were interested in what Reinar was doing before he got to the deathmatch arena, go check out our lore recording, voiceover by Greg. It's a wonderful read. It's very fun. Excellent soundtrack, if I don't say so myself.
And you don't have to read it if that's not clear. You just listen to
Yeah,
it.
it's an audio experience, a flesh and
it's
blood audio
audio.
experience.
All right. Speaking of awesome things, it's time to talk about Betsy.
Hell yeah.
Just a great. But other than the pun about betting and waging,
So bad.
and her name being Betsy, this hero is great. We have a new guardian. Her name is Betsy, or Betsy's skin in the game. Her hero ability says, whenever an attack you control wagers, you may pay 2 resources. If you do, the attack gets +1 and overpower. So interesting combination of kind of like the Bravo dominate power with the new wagering keyword. And I think it's just cool. Like, one, she's just like a big woman, and fuck yeah,
Hell
she's
yeah.
proud of it. She rocks it. Like, I was just like, I even showed my wife. I was like, check this out. They just put like a fat woman on here, and she looks so awesome. Like,
Yeah.
there's no shame in any of it. It's just like, I'm here. I'm gonna rip. She totally ripped like a giant wolf's head off, and then is wearing its skin.
Yeah.
Because she's a super badass. So like, I don't know. Kudos to y'all for going there and doing that. Not printing another waifu and just giving us, well, I guess a new kind of waifu. Let's like, not your standard waifu, not your dated, you know, beauty standards. This is Betsy.
Yeah.
She's got it going on.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
excited for
Yeah.
this.
Me too. I love Betsy's energy. I think shout out to Kiki on Twitter. I think in the young version, I think they said, you know, making your enemy your couch is a hell of a vibe. Or it's like the energy I'm bringing in 2024 or something like that. And it is. It's pretty awesome, you know. And if you don't think a big lady can be strong, you need to go check out Sarah Robles, who's a American weightlifter, Olympian medalist from the United States. She's a very large, powerful woman. One of the things I like to do in my class is show my little high school students women Olympic weightlifting, and it's all in kilos, and they're always like, how much is that? And I'm like, bro, that's like 425 pounds. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. And she's accelerating it off of the ground over her head. And they're like, damn, that shit's lit.
It
Not
is
sus.
lit, children.
Yeah. You know, Betsy wins also is a 10 out of 10. Really cool vibe, cool art. Well, Betsy is a 9 out of 10 because she has the worst name in the game. One of the worst names. Betsy's great, but skin in the game. We could have called her Betsy, and I posted this on Twitter, you know, Betsy, you know, the Destroyer would have been more funny. You know what I mean? Or, you know, whatever. Anything else besides skin in the game, which I get the pun or whatever. But she's, Anyway, 9 out of 10. Dope art, great hero ability. I think that's going to be really cool. I love it. That's an optional additional cost for all attacks, not attack action cards. And the +1 is really sick, because it adds a ton of value potentially to it just makes your blues better as well. Your 5, maybe 6 cost, your 8 costed dominated already blues that you can run. Just have like an extra 1 power in there. And as we know from Ira, when you get a +1 power shit, it really adds up. So it's great. She's the hero I think I'm most excited about so far coming out of the set, just because of her whole deal,
Yeah. I think it's interesting. It's tied to the attack wagering, so I think we'll have to see how many of her attacks do that.
Right.
I mean, it hopefully has to be some kind of critical mass, so that it's not like her hero ability isn't doing anything.
Right.
But I think I agree. It's a cool ability. It doesn't feel. I feel like I say this a lot. It doesn't feel busted right now, but it very well could be. Anytime you can just, guarantee damage, especially with a hero like Guardian or a class like Guardian that has hit effects, that is potentially really strong. So this is the other hero I'm most excited about. I think Reinar and Betsy are the two ones that I would like to dabble in and see how they feel in the constructed format. And we'll see how much wagering I can do in a big Betsy shit,
I
big
love
Betsy
that
energy.
Yeah, that could have just been her name, Big Betsy, shit. Maybe not though. I guess it works better without the comma. I think Bet Big is her specialization, and it's a 4 costed 8 attack Guardian card. And it says when this attacks a hero, you may wager a gold, might, and vigor token with them, which is crazy. You just get all of the things or not in your wagering. So 2 blues, boom. Bad boy comes in for 9. I do wonder how important gold is going to be in this set. We haven't seen any real payoffs for it. I think there's been some speculation that Cash In will be a reprint. That seems like maybe too good of a card. I'm not sure, especially when you have agility tokens floating around. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's something I'm interested in knowing about. I also like that specialization. I think it's really cool. Now, my kind of other question here, just kind of big picture, since we're talking about the big stuff, is, kind of what are your thoughts on this set? Is it really interesting you? Are you like, man, these heroes are so cool. I love the deathmatch arena vibe. I think that's really awesome. Oh, also shout out to Betsy's new deathmatch arena border she has on her hero card. That is really cool. That is my favorite border for sure. But what are your thoughts on, are you really hyped for this set? Also, what was the last set you were really hyped on as well? Not saying you're a general bummer person, but I'm just kind of wondering.
But you're generally a bummer.
That's not what I'm saying. I feel like you're a very positive person.
I can be if I want to be.
I think you're a bummer when it comes to yourself. Other stuff, you're very positive.
Wow, let's just cut to it. Therapy's Friday, but we can start now.
Might as well, It's Friday
it's
somewhere.
Good time to reflect. All right. Well, you asked me two things. Was the last set I was excited? I think I'm excited for every set. I was excited for, well, Bright Lights was a little like, I think I created some excitement where there maybe was a little bit less, but Outsiders was cool. I thought, the 3 or the 6 hero 3 class format was really interesting. It seemed like all the stuff for Azuri and Assassin was really cool, even though like it kind of split the Assassin pool into 2 unmergeable things, which is a little rough sometimes when you're trying to like get into a hero and then half the card pool just doesn't seem to apply to you. But that being said, I am the deathmatch arena thing. I don't know. It's a little on the nose. It's a fighting game. And now they're like, let's just throw all pretense of, story out the window. And it's just people fighting for money.
Yeah.
So that's a little.
See, that's the thing I like. Because it fucking makes sense. The rest of the game makes no sense.
Monarch
you know what I mean?
Was a fight against light and shadow.
That
how epic
that
was
makes
that?
sense also. You're right.
And then in Aria,
Totally right.
they were like, before we band together, we all got to fight each other. It's like in
No,
Kung
that
Fu
was
movies.
not the story. That was not the story.
Then why were they fighting in Tales of Aria?
Exactly,
They were all
Colin.
on the same side.
This is my exact thought that I have about every set that comes out. Why is Benji in the pits? Why does he need to be stabbed or stab Arachne?
Because he has an unhealthy relationship with Katsu, and he followed him there, even though Katsu said, "I don't love you anymore."
But Arachne doesn't even know Katsu. See this? Okay. Anyway, so that's what
You
I
said
like
Benji.
about the. I know, but
thought you
Katsu
said Benji.
doesn't know Arachne solitary confinement. He's in
Doesn't
solitary
wanna know.
confinement. He knows nobody.
That's true.
That's his whole thing.
But then how'd those bodies get there? Anyways, I think
Well,
there's
now
some
he's
fun.
in solitary confinement. Before it was a party. And so that's why the deathmatch arena makes the most sense. I'm like, yes, we're actually fighting now.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but it leaves very little to any story imagination there. There's no hoops we got to jump through to make it make sense. But that being said, there's a lot of fun keywords. I like keywords, so I always think they're kind of fun to be like, oh yeah. I mean, in practice, it turns into that thing. You're like, oh fuck, I forgot this keyword. Like, I need to pay attention to these keywords and how they're interacting with what I'm trying to do. And there's like a bunch of tokens, might, vigor, agility, can be kind of crazy. The clash thing, I thought it sounded kind of cool. Some people have pointed out that it's like the same mechanic from Magic the Gathering. I think that's fine, but also I think it makes sense in the theme of this set. I don't know what it'll be like in like constructed format, where all of a sudden you're just like doing things that are just kind of like, I don't know, different than anybody else is doing for some unknown reason. But I'm not excited about 2 new warrior heroes. I'll tell you that fucking much. Because I saw Olympia and I was just like, well, that seems like a dumb hero power. And then a bunch of people were like, oh man, blah, blah, blah. I was like, shit, there's going to be something. This is going to be messed up. And I'm going to have to deal with this stupid guy named Olympia. Like, why are they named Olympia?
Prized fighter.
Prized fighter. Past tense.
Terrible.
He used to be prized.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But yeah, it seems okay. I like this keyword universal. That's fun.
Yeah.
Well, in any zone, this is the same class as your hero. That seems like it could be dangerous. But we like to flirt with danger here, so that's fun. But yeah,
Yeah. People don't know that. That's the podcast's middle name is Danger.
Where does it go? There's 3. Is it
Well,
the
it goes
attack
before
act-
its last name. Its first name is the Attack Action Podcast. Middle name Danger.
And what's its last name?
Well, we'll have to save that for later. We can't give away all of our. They're going to take the podcast social security number.
What was your
Steal
podcast
its identity.
mother's maiden name?
Yeah, totally. Can't give all that stuff away.
It was Session Blood.
Yeah,
Shout out.
exactly.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Carol and Mr. Fantastic. I miss those guys, and not understanding what they were saying because they talked about a lot of cards that I hadn't read yet, and they knew so much more than I did. Yeah. So, does that answer your question? I don't know how.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
think
about
so.
it.
Yeah. Because I'm in this place, because I ask you, because I feel the same. Like, I was pretty lukewarm about an all mechanologist set, but I was willing to give it a try and be excited about it and find cool stuff. And it was fine. It was totally fine. And then, Outsiders wound up being kind of my favorite set from last year. But in terms of like, I think I'm also historically been spoiled. So we got into the game right before Crucible. So it was like, okay, cool. I already have heroes I'm glommed onto. I just got new cards for those heroes I'm glommed onto. And then we got Monarch, which had Chain, which I was like super into. And then another Rune Blade came out with Tales of Aria. And I was just like, wow, I'm really feasting right now. This is really fun. What came out after Tales? I can't even remember. That's so long ago. Dynasty?
Yeah.
Uprising? Dynasty?
Yeah. Uprising was the next draftable set.
And then that came out, and that... Oh, no, it was Everfest came out. Right?
No, I don't know. I've never heard of that set.
Which was kind of a miss. But anyway, there just seemed like for those beginning parts, there was like heroes I was like really excited to get to play. And kind of all of last year, that did not happen. You know what I mean? And it doesn't look like it's starting to happen this year. But it's like, I got my boy Arachne now, and that's just the life I live. And so maybe I'm not the target audience for that. You know what I mean? Because I just have a separate agenda in terms of what I'm really looking for in a set. And
Yeah,
then
you're looking for Graven Call and Coercive Tendency. That's it. You're done.
Oh yeah, totally. I can't wait to just get those and just be like, boom, I'm done. I got the cards I needed. Love it. So I don't know what a set would need to even have for me to be like, I've never been more excited in my life. You know what I mean? And I don't think every set has to do that for every person as well.
No, it
You know what I
totally
mean?
doesn't. I think it is hard. I think it gets harder the longer we've been in the game. I think the levels of hype, like everyone who was there for Monarch, the levels of hype were so intense that I was like physically and emotionally exhausted getting ready for that set release. Largely because there wasn't much else going on in my life, because I was working at home and not going outside as much as possible. And ever since then, it's kind of been like, diminishing returns on that. And I appreciate that. And it's also, you miss it a little bit. You want that.
Yeah, totally.
With that spike of adrenaline. And one thing that I find really, I don't think this really helps. They just like randomly release spoilers where it's just like, oh, we got one like 4 days ago, and then there's like one today, and then, or like, and then like a week and a half later you get one, and there's just like no rhyme or reason. They set a spoiler season, and then they just like randomly release shit at any given point leading up to that, and you're just like,
Yeah.
why are you doing this? Like, just like either make it a long spoiler season where you trickle it out and we have just something constant to like talk about and we know what to expect, and but I feel like when you just kind of like, there's no anticipation because you just don't know when it's going to happen. So it's just kind of like, well, I just don't think it's going to happen. And then there is stuff. And then you're like, oh, well, there's some stuff. And then you're like, oh, that's interesting. And then you just like kind of forget about it for a while because it's like so far away. So I think for me, that's part of it. Spoiler season seems to be a little weird, the way they're running it. And, one thing I've noticed too is just as I've delved into like fighting games, like video games, there is the idea of like seasons, and they release characters throughout the season. And, when a new character is announced and, they start showing like videos of the gameplay, there's a lot of like hubbub about like, oh, like this, look at this move. Like people are like analyzing the frame data from like the video to see like if they can figure out like, the different kind of mechanics and abilities and the power level of these heroes before they come out. And it's a similar thing where there's some people who are super hyped. There's a bunch of people who hate it. This is busted. Why would they do this and not that? And then, when it comes out, a lot of people play it, they try it out, and then they kind of go back to their mains that they enjoy more. And then, we just kind of go on. So I think in that regard, it's good to just have more heroes, which is, I think, part of why just reprinting Rhinar is kind of a miss, because it could have just been a different brute hero. And I think it's probably good because we don't need to try to collect and play every single new hero. But hopefully it's exciting for somebody. Hopefully it's bringing in a new player who's like, cool, like I want to be this, weird dude Olympia and be a warrior.
I know he's the weirdest dude in the set, but he's like the most regular guy, which we haven't even talked about because he's just so kind of whatever.
The first time each of your attacks wins a wager, create a gold token. It's like, what? This guy's gonna have lots of gold. Yeah, so there's parts of it that are really exciting. There's other parts where it's just like, I don't know. I probably won't play with a lot of these cards because if they're not, good enough to go in a Reiner deck or a Betsy. I mean, maybe if I make a Betsy deck, we'll see.
Yeah.
Depends. But yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be weird. They want to release so many heroes this year. Like, what does that end up feeling like? I mean, I feel like we're already at a level where it's like, wow, there's a lot of heroes. Like, to like really be on top of things, like you have to know about a lot of different heroes and their cards and how they all play and stuff. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issue with that. I think that's fine. I mean, my human brain's capacity to basically memorize cards every single set and not forget any from previous sets, really. Like, we got to be at like 90% retention rate on all of those. You know what I mean? And so if there's more heroes, that's fine. I can remember what they do. I might not remember what their game plan is, which I think is fine. I think more heroes in the game is better because it just means more options and more likely someone is going to be like, yes, this is who I play. I love this, and that's what one of the huge draws to the game is that identity. make with one of the other heroes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as long as that, as long as we keep getting new heroes, that'd be great. And that's super positive. And I totally agree with like Monarch hype is never going to be, we're never going to get there again. You know what I mean? And I still believe like, I don't think I need every set to be like so hype that I'm like, man, now I got to be an Olympia prized fighter main because that's so cool. I think that's okay. That just means that there's so much variety in the game that it's not catering to just me anymore. And it's hitting a broader audience. And that's better ultimately for like the health of the game in the future and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think more heroes, it just makes more opportunity to have more fun. Let's just say
Absolutely. That. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's just cooler. I think. I don't know. I'm really into, just being a one-trick pony now and just being like, this is my guy. It's the best way, I think, to interact with the game at this point. But
I think that's admirable, Taylor.
Thanks. Colin, do you have like, what's your favorite hero or class? I'm not even sure I know. Maybe you don't know, and that's why.
I think that's where I'm at. Okay. I love Wizard. I love Kano.
Yeah.
I don't love
okay,
that the only viable strategy is Ether Wildfire. Basically, is the only way you can really compete. I don't love the amount of, aggressive heroes that can just kill you before you can even try to do anything because you have 30 health. And so, that's just kind of on the back burner. I tried doing it last year. I played a lot of Kano. I lost to Dromai a lot, and I lost to Phi a lot, and I just kind of got tired of doing that. So that's there. Outside of that, I don't know. I'm struggling with what I do. Like if I can have a main, I think that's something I wish I could just be like, yep, this is it. I'm going to do this. I like this. But lately there hasn't been anything that like grips me like that.
Yeah.
I appreciate the mechanics of Arachne and Azuri. I really appreciate, Brute and Shadow Brute. I think like there's like really cool stuff going on there. I even appreciate a good old Bravo. Just, I'm going to block and swing my hammer and arsenal a big attack and then just dominate, crush you on my next turn. And, there's a very like flowy feeling to that. That's nice. So I think, that's kind of where I'm at this year. I think this year is going to be a lot of, I'm just going to play decks. I'm going to build different decks. I'm going to try them out. I'm not going to really worry about my results so much. I hope to just kind of explore things and really find something that just give more things a chance. Another thing I've seen in like fighting games, there's a lot of stuff on like picking your main. It's like the first video that comes out when a new game comes out, like, oh, how to pick your main. And everybody's just like, just play all the heroes, which is easier on a fighting game. You can do it by yourself. You can train. You can try out different things and see what it looks like and what their super cool moves do and be like, this is dope. I'm going to do this. Then you look at a list and you're like, this is tier, F. But I like them, so I'm going to do it and see how that goes.
Hell yeah.
So I think, that's kind of where I'm at for Flesh and Blood heroes at the moment. But
Cool.
Reinhard definitely getting an update, buying some of these new cards when they come out, and we'll put that deck together, see how it goes. We'll look at Betsy, keep trying Arachne. I do think Arachne is fun. It's just like, let me see that card, Also Dashio, like let me look at my top card. I like the things where you're just like, what do I do here? Oh, we'll play this at instant speed.
Yeah.
Just doing those like little fun things that not every hero gets to do is
Totally.
exciting and fun. So I'll be there and I'll keep y'all posted on where I'm heading.
Cool. I'm excited for this journey that you're on
Thank you.
To explore and test and see what stuff is. That's cool. This is going to be the first set that I haven't bought any boxes of anything. I'm just going to buy my assassin singles.
Yeah.
And, any other generics I think that are relevant, and then call it good. But I am excited to draft this set. I'm always happy about new limited formats and that sort of thing. So I thought Bright Lights was fine, not my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
It had its moments for sure, but it wasn't what I was looking for yet in the draft. So hopefully with all of these split cards, I think these split class cards that we have, the thing I really want to have happen, and it's something I know Zane from our Discord is echoing as well, is just like more creative ways to add cards to your deck in draft. So if they have just like a ton more uses, then they can go in a bunch of different decks. And then while you're drafting, you can be a bit more creative and solve the puzzle of like, these limited resources. And I see what's being passed, I see what's open, and then being able to build a deck, around something like that. So I'm hoping that that's what this set is going to provide, because I think that is kind of what Flesh and Blood's draft experience is missing. Is it at a certain point it becomes rather on the rails. You know what I mean? Like Uprising for sure felt on the rails. Even some parts of Bright Lights felt a little bit on the rails and that sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully they nail that. That would be a great big win for me personally, and for them as well. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Hell yeah, dude.
Sick. Should we we're starting to look a little sleepy. Should we move on to signature segments here?
Boop. Yes, we should. Let's do it.
Awesome.
I'm not sleepy. You're sleepy.
Here on the Attack Action podcast, we like mini games, not just small ones, but different kinds of games. Colin's going to share a game with us, and it might not be his favorite, but he's excited to share it with you. So, Colin, take it away.
Imagine a world where you were like, dogs are cool, but what if we made foxes domesticated animals? Welcome to the world of the Fox Experiment. Designed by Jeff Fraser and Elizabeth Hargrave, from famous designer of Wingspan. This is a fun little game. Shout out to Elliot. Don't know if he listens. Probably doesn't listen to the show because he doesn't play Flesh and Blood, but he's my board game buddy. He got this because he's a big Wingspan Elizabeth Hargrave fan. We played it the other day. Jess and I went over and played with one of his friends. It is I'm trying to think about what its mechanics. All right. It's a game where you roll a shitload of dice. At least, you start with a few dice, but then you end up with more and more dice. But basically, it's a game where you're breeding foxes, and then you make new little foxes that you fill in. It's kind of like roll and righty, where you like write in their attributes on a new card, and then you get to name them, which is fun. And then those new foxes go in the pool of like breeding foxes, and then the next round you breed new foxes, and you can draft your old, or like select your old, or the children of your last brood, and then you kind of you get this like kind of a building effect of like, it's got like all these like kind of arbitrary features that like denote whether or not they're more and more domesticated. Like they bark. Barking is like a thing, I guess, that a sign of domestication, because they they bark if other people are coming. Folded ears as a sign of domestication, things like that. So you kind of increase these things through the generations, because through selective breeding. And then each time you do that, you get more and more dice to roll for those attributes. So like the next round of children are going to have like a shitload of folded ears, because I got to roll like 6 of these dice. And you do like research, you like unlock a bunch of stuff, kind of like in Wingspan, where you kind of like unlock more powers as you put birds in nests. This one, you like unlock more powers as you do like research papers and like other studies and things like that. But it was just kind of like fun point salady victory point game where you roll a lot of dice and make funny names for your foxes. So it was a good time. Not my favorite game, but it was like it was fun. It had like a lot of things going on, but it still wasn't complicated. Like Jess, who doesn't play as much board games as me, was able to pick it up pretty quickly.
Nice.
And have fun doing it. So that was the Fox Experiment.
Awesome. That sounds fun. Yeah. I was kind of only mildly into Wingspan, but this sounds more fun, more dog based, and I'm a big dog fan.
Yeah. The only downside of this is that they kind of reuse a lot of the fox art. So there's not like a great, expansive collection of different foxes that you get to look at. Unfortunately, I think that was like one of the only downsides of like the aesthetics of it. Was like, well, if you're gonna have a whole game about foxes, like I feel like every card should be like a unique illustration of a fox, which I understand.
Yeah.
That's not possible because of money. But it
cute.
Seems
they all
like
have different names, though. I'm looking at pictures of it now.
Yeah, your first generation has their own names, and then you name them all after that. Elliot's friend was naming them after celebrities with Fox last names, like Michael Fox,
Megan Fox, Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, it was Michael J. Fox, Jamie Fox,
Fox,
Vivica A.
Fox. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was funny as he is just like doing research on his phone as to what to name his
Rick
his
Fox,
foxes.
the
Rick
Laker.
Fox,
yeah. Okay.
He was a
Anyway,
Laker. Yeah, that's
sorry.
true. I had a Simpsons theme, so I just named them all after Simpsons characters. I
That's
think
fun.
Apu ended up being like OP.
Cool.
It was tight. Yeah.
Well, awesome. I might check that out, actually. That seems pretty fun.
Yeah. It's based on a real thing, too. There's a thing they did in Russia. They tried to, learn more about selective breeding and how fast you could create a domesticated breed of a wild animal.
Cool. Well, thanks, Colin. That seems awesome. I really like that.
Well, you're welcome.
Well done.
Well played.
Thank you.
Good game.
Thank you for the game. Thank you for the podcast.
Thank
Anyway,
you
everybody, that has been our episode. Thank you very much. Appreciate the listen, and Happy New Year to everybody. Excited to see you all, interact with you all, or just keep putting content out there for you, and you just enjoy it silently, and we never speak ever. That's fine too.
Your choice. Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice. Cool.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.